Anyway, so to sig into the next topic, Goro, what's cooking?
What's cooking? And I also need to be taking a short break myself because I need to use the bathroom.
Yes, but I will address Goro during the intermission directly. Goro,
Okay.
what's cooking?
Right,
Literally, what have you been cooking? Nothing. No. Cooking. Literally cooking.
Seele is probably asking about like literal things you've been cooking, like food.
Yes, exactly. It is the perfect segue. It's a perfect segue to it. Like, you cannot have been cooking nothing unless you've only been eating out. What is hiatus for food? Are you fasting? Fasting is too early. Fasting in January, what? Did you peak out in December? How much lechon did you have in December? Come on. Okay, recalling what you made last cooking stream. That's good. What did you make last cooking stream? If it's pastries again or cookies, I will shank you with this keycap remover. Your recall is pretty bad, Goro. It has been 30 seconds. Come on, you can do it. You can remember stuff. People do that. Most people do.
Extra hell, like
Hell, Sammy. How? What do you mean by extra hell? What did you add? What was it to begin with?
what does the Korean word heck mean again? Like it's commonly translated as nuclear. Let me try and figure that out actually.
What was your base? Times 3? Buldak?
There is no such thing as times 3 bulldog. Wait, no.
Times 4.
Wait, no, wait. No, there's no times 4, but I forget if the times 3 actually does exist. Hold on a sec.
Regular buldak and then added more gochugaru. Okay.
No, never mind. The 3x spicy does exist. It's the 4x that doesn't exist. Got it.
Yeah. So my memory still serves me correct. Okay. We sig into this because now I want to talk about food.
Food.
Delicious food. Plain chili powder. Okay, gochugaru is a bit too excessive even for buldak. So, what's cooking? Literally.
For me,
Yes.
what can I recall me doing? Over the holidays, we basically figured out a setup so that we can basically do a bulgogi at home. So we had I basically was cooking a bunch of things. But more notably, I basically got a bunch of ingredients. We purchased a bunch of like Korean side ingredients, side dishes. And then we had like beef lying around. We had pork lying around. There was also a compartment in the home bulgogi apparatus that had a compartment for soup in it, so that we also made a hot pot in there as well. So that's what we did for the holidays. We tried making Bolognese spaghetti a la Ikea because we bought Ikea meatballs because my mom wanted us to buy IKEA
Bolognese does not have meatballs.
and it was half price. It was a half price at the time, so we got 2 entire bags of IKEA meatballs, and even then we still have some actually.
I should buy the frozen meatballs, but
They keep well, surprisingly. They cook to exactly the same, almost exactly the same way as you can get them in the store. Actually,
so oven bake?
a half kilo of it like costs 600 ish.
Not bad.
That's really
That's a good deal.
premium for frozen meat, but still.
That's a good deal actually. But my point stands. Meatballs are not in Bolognese.
Yeah,
Okay?
it
Bolognese is either beef or lamb or what? Okay, fine. Pork.
yeah,
Balls.
yeah, balls.
Balls
Like,
yun.
yeah, spheres made of meat acquired from Ikea.
No, no, no. Balls yun is.
But I don't know.
But yeah,
I actually don't know what the base of the sauce in the IKEA one is from. But whatever we made, it's not bolognese. It's not. It's whatever we had using the ingredients that we had. So I'll just call it
just
red
call it red.
sauce.
Yes, that's the more correct term. Red sauce pasta. I am now less offended by your terminology. Continue.
I actually forget because I actually was going to ask you if it being called bolognese requires a certain thing to be made
Okay,
using
here's the
either
thing.
ingredients or preparation.
Okay, here's the thing with bolognese. You first start with whole meat, preferably something that's nice and gelatinous with tough connective tissue,
Okay.
and then you stew it in wine.
Oh, okay. You stew it in wine.
Stew it in wine, let it reduce, let it get soft, nice and soft and shreddy,
Uh-huh.
and then you add your tomato paste, just a tiny bit, not too much,
Just
and then
enough.
you mix it in. You add salt, bolognese. That's it. That's it. Okay, fine. You want, if you want onions in there, good. Garlic, not so much. The Italians will get offended with that, and I am offended the fact that they'll get offended with having too much garlic in their food. I like garlic,
I like garlic.
but yes,
But okay.
but yeah, like so.
So there
But
is
the
that.
base is the common the one of the best things that I made 2 years ago. It's already 2 years ago. 2 years ago was a bolognese, beef short rib.
Oh, beef short rib. Ooh.
Beef short rib, the best that I can find in the SM.
Oh,
I sear it first.
you didn't go to like Rare Food Shop or something to get some.
I mean, if I can get beef short rib here, I will.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, like I don't need to go to a fancy place to buy beef short rib, especially if I'm just experimenting making bolognese.
Ah,
So the
fair.
bolognese is like, okay, I get beef short rib from SM. I sear it first. Sear it real good, like brown, as brown as it possibly can. Then I add the tomato paste first to let it caramelize. And okay, I add a few more ingredients, like let's say carrot, finely diced, and my onion, also diced. And then I add in the wine. I shove the thing in the oven, and then I wait. How long? No, no, I wait. I don't measure the time. By the time I smell something delicious, I pretty much decide, okay, yeah, it's done. I take it out, shred the meat, take out the bones, and that's my bolognese sauce. It's decadent, it's rich, it's not good for you, but it is.
Okay, so we recently watched a video, but first that's Goro first. On topic of pasta, we
What
made
is
bechamel sauce and mixed it with tomato sauce for spaghetti. Isn't this like
that's
for some reason this reminds me of the whole? There's a food trend in Korea where everything is called rosé, which is basically just a combination of bechamel, red sauce, some type of red sauce, and cheese. It's a it's the most 2022 food trend
trend.
for
Yes, but
Korea.
it's not as unreasonable as every other food trend back in the day. Rainbows everywhere.
There,
Like yes, you yes, rainbows are nice. They represent a lot of things, but food isn't one of them.
like
Please.
uh like the most oh god, not the NyQuil chicken.
NyQuil. NyQuil chicken.
The freaking NyQuil chicken. That's a TikTok thing, by the way. And I somehow know that because it's the horrible stuff that keeps osmosing to me all the time. Why
NyQuil
TikTok?
chicken. It's like, okay, I haven't been watching Chubby Emu lately. I need to remember how it goes. Anyway.
I actually. Oh wait. Is that a Chubby Emu video? NyQuil chicken.
Yeah, there's a Chubby Emu video for NyQuil chicken.
Oh gee. So that means medical literature was written on the topic. That's a prerequisite to like having a Chubby Emu video.
Nico Avocado did it. What? Did he do it?
Did he do the NyQuil chicken thing?
Because, no, don't, please, don't add drugs into your food.
And all I just wanted to like sidetrack and explain a thing about what rosé tteokbokki is, but at the same, thanks Goro. Oh no, no, he did not. Okay. It must have been somebody else then.
It's somebody else on TikTok.
It's somebody else that might have also been a mukbang influencer. We don't know. The bechamel tomato pasta.
Bechamel tomato isn't something that crossed my mind actually. What tomato sauce are you using?
That's an interesting.
Because here's the thing, like if it's just plain tomato sauce that the stuff you get in regular supermarkets, Del Monte, that's not that good.
Yeah.
If you're just mixing it into the bechamel, but if you're using tomato paste, that's an entirely different story.
Yeah.
If it's tomato paste, you mix it in the bechamel, then you might get some interesting flavors going on.
Or
bechamel by itself tastes like nothing.
Like what I usually do if I have like a store-bought tomato sauce is concentrate it and then add, because I always add creams or bechamels last.
Good, reasonable. Because otherwise you darken the bechamel way too much and then just turn back into a roux.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. So good move.
Paste will improve it. Paste will improve it for sure, Goro.
Yeah, like don't use tomato sauce. It's
on its own, not on its own.
Not on its own. Use a paste if you're gonna mix it in with the bechamel. Because at least then you'd have a nice tomato flavor, not too offensive, not too sharp, not too sour.
Yeah.
And you'd end up with a relatively good product. I've not tried it myself. I don't think I will, because my bechamels usually become Mornay sauces, and by then I've been using it in a lasagna.
Béarnaise sauce. What is that again?
Mornay.
Oh, Mornay. So cheese.
Yes. I don't know how to make a Béarnaise sauce. A Béarnaise sauce is probably way too complicated for my tastes. But yeah. What were we talking about prior to the pasta?
Pasta. Well, we were talking about Ikea meatballs, but I actually was going to like talk more about pasta because we watched this video, right? There was a video that you linked to our Discord server, which is like
which one?
The not standard Japanese compromise carbonara / cacio e pepe / not cacio e pepe, pepperoncino, whatever.
Oh, that one. I don't remember it that much anymore.
Yeah, because I actually was going to make that, and then the opportunity passed me by, and somebody else got to my pasta ingredients first, so I did not get to make it. Right now, hello, Captain Wobbles. What else? What was I gonna say? We were going to say that there is more opportunities because we have more ingredients now. I got more ingredients now. But the next thing my family wants me to make is another red sauce pasta. So, problem is, the last time we went to the supermarket, they were out of canned tomatoes. Which is like, okay, that's interesting. I need to make do with something. So I got a bottle of sun-dried tomato pesto. And I actually don't know what to do with that, honestly.
Amatriciana.
Amatriciana? I have bacon.
Amatriciana, but with sun-dried.
I don't have any fancier cooked cured meats right now, but I have bacon.
Okay, scratch the amatriciana. Pomodoro.
Pomodoro.
Pasta pomodoro.
If I were to make amatriciana, do you actually need the fancy cured meats for it?
Not necessarily, but no, no. The thing is, sun-dried tomatoes might be a bit too powerful for amatriciana.
Ah, I see, I see, I see. Hello, Wobbles. We are discussing food on stream. If you want to interject with things that you have been doing for your own cooking, then you can also put that in chat. This has turned into Sele's partially unsolicited food advice corner, and that's a
Yes,
really good
because
way
I
to be
cook.
starting this episode. Actually,
Yeah, because I cook. I like cooking. I like food. I like eating food. I like watching people talk about food. Food.
We actually
Food.
had plans to make IRL videos in the vein of about to eat for last year, and those did not materialize.
Yeah, because last year we were still stuck at home
Yeah, we
at
were
our
still
own
stuck at
homes,
home. Yeah,
and I still am.
I am still too as well. Yeah,
So postpone it.
yeah,
Po-
postponed.
Postpone it to another time.
Yeah,
I prefer.
me, Seele, and Goro were trying to do a thing, and then just that thing that never panned out because we all were stuck at home for the most part.
Yeah, but yeah, I like food. I like talking to people about food. I like watching people talk about food. And the reason why I wanted to talk about food right now is because of the last part. Remember one of the ideas that I had for a topic here, Tawagoto?
Uh,
People who talk about food.
yeah. You were about to talk about best ever food review show, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
yeah. The chicken breast and rice.
Oh,
You
I
could
see.
spice that up. You could spice that up considerably, to be honest. If you're just cooking chicken breast and rice, like you could do it like Hainanese, for example. You cook the rice and the chicken breast together.
For some reason, my brain
Or
went
one.
to the whole CBR initialism, which is apparently chicken, broccoli, rice, which a lot of gym people like to eat or something like that. I forget
It's
if that's
very common. It's a common thing. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be just eating fish and more fish and more fish, which is not bad. I like fish,
yeah.
but chicken breast is a bit more versatile in that aspect.
Yeah, and
And it,
it's an ingredient that is very oftenly on hand a lot
yeah,
of
it's easy to
times.
access to. High protein, low fat. Yep. Not much carbs unless you're adding in the rice, but even then, like adding in the rice is up to preference.
Oh yeah. Anyway, let's talk about your people who talk about food.
Okay, so
Is there even a more specific identifier about that? Do you talk?
no,
Are we talking about people? Oh, sorry. Let me. I'll should have you explain then.
okay, so here's the thing. Way back when I was a tiny little boy, like let's say, actually, I think it's reasonable for me to say 20 years ago.
Uh,
At this point, way back 20 years ago, there was this thing called the Food Network.
it still exists.
It's not the same, but yeah, there's this thing called the Food Network, Discovery TLC, in particular. Those channels, those are my jam back 20 years ago.
Hmm.
And 20 years ago, I was 8 years old. So you imagine that as an 8-year-old child, a child watching stuff about people talk about food is, well, it's formative to say the least.
Mm.
It explains why I like food. It explains why I like eating a lot of food. And it
Hmm.
explains why I like cooking a lot of food as well. Now, back during that era, there's what I'd like to call, in hindsight, and a lot of food YouTubers will actually agree with me on this. I've never talked to them, but hey, uh, there was this thing called the big. There were three big personalities back then in the food television scene.
In the in the late 2000s.
Mm.
In the late
In the
2000s.
mid 2000s to
Mid
be exact.
2000s. Okay.
Mid to late 2000s. They are Anthony Bourdain, rest in peace,
Mhm.
Andrew Zimmern, and Adam Richman. So Man versus Food, bizarre foods from around the world, and No
No
Reservations. So
reservations. Yeah.
those, yeah, so those were premier television to me. Well, I watched a lot of TV, so that wasn't the only thing that I watched. But in terms of food channels, that's my portfolio, and like it's weird because food is a lot of people, especially once you get to best ever food review show, which is probably the closest thing to what is the, the same DNA as those other three shows back then. And I'm sure Sunny would be very flattered with such a statement, but I do think it is a valid statement to give. Is that when the important thing when watching food being presented in TV, you need to know the context behind it. Food does not exist in a vacuum.
It's culture.
It's culture. Food is culture. And I think that's like, okay, about to eat, for example, BuzzFeed,
Yeah, it's
they, they,
let's get that out of the way very quickly. About to It is a BuzzFeed channel.
yeah, about to eat slash BuzzFeed slash Tasty, they they do carry the cultural aspect. They respect the cultural aspect, but it's kind of takes a backseat to the food itself, which is something that I totally understand.
Yeah, they
I
focus more on preparation of food, the techniques. ATE's directorial slant is very much on the preparation of the food. And then
yeah
recently, when Sean Miura took the reins recently,
yeah
it started becoming more of the story of how food ingredients became intertwined with the people who grow and produce said food. So
yeah,
that's
and I
another.
think that's a fairly important conversation to be had because, like, okay, in About to Eat's case, like when Sean Miura took over, and it started becoming the relationship between the food, the source, up to the table. Yeah, it's a good conversation because when you go to the supermarket, you often don't know where your food comes from, unless of course it's right there on the label. But otherwise, supermarkets just buy them from a general group of farms, and then they just send it over to the supermarket. You take them, you eat them, and well, a lot of people are nitpicky about chemicals and pesticides and stuff, but it doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me personally is origin, knowing where the food came from to be specific, knowing who raised the food, or at least what conditions the food was raised in, what conditions was grown, and in that sense, About to Eat does that competently well. And then when you slide down the scale of culture and more into the technique aspect, you get shows like okay, the Babish culture culinary
Universe,
universe.
yeah.
Yeah, like okay, so Babish is more technique oriented, although well, it has to be expected because a lot of their content revolves around food that is not actually it's the origins of such foods are mainly taken from media,
Yeah. And also,
but
I think
it's
it's
not.
important to take into note the background of Andrew Rea himself as a
He's a
creator.
filmmaker. He's a filmmaker first and foremost, and he knows his stuff with regards to media itself. So that's something that you can't discount from him.
Mhm.
But at the same time, because of that sort of leaning, it's more focused on the technique rather than About to Eat's leaning on the sourcing, the story of the ingredients, and the technique, and more on the how do I make this at home sort of thing.
Yeah, the Babish
And
channel
then,
leans more towards how can we convincingly recreate X
yeah,
food from Y media. And
yes.
it
And
basically spawned a lot of channels following it, that kind of formula.
yeah, yeah, and that's more of an entertainment slant to food than anything. It's closer to the formula. Like, okay, it's not exactly that formula, but it's close to the formulas perpetuated by Jamie Oliver, Nigella Lawson, etc. Those are like these are comfy cooking channels in a sense. Although Andrew does get a bit more chaotic, which adds a flair to that presentation.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's Babish's side, and then when you get more to the hardcore educational channels, they're less in terms of presentation flair and more of just either presenting a technique by itself or in some cases actually showing you the science behind it. So if you talk about technique, you get to J. Kenji Lopez out
Can help us all.
with all of his cooking channels and not necessarily tutorials, but just showing you how he does things
There's also
in his home kitchen.
yeah, another example I can think of is like the America's Test Kitchen channel, which is like
The
very
Americans,
very like upfront presentation that this is what this is. Like this is how this
Yeah.
works. And like
yeah, America's Test Kitchen in particular also does, well, they are a test kitchen. So they do a lot of testing. They check the science behind it. And a couple of content creators have also gotten into that slant as of the past 5 years. For example, you have Adam Ragusia.
Ran Ragusa,
And then like, oh yeah, Adam Ragusia and Ethan Kilbowski.
oh yeah,
particular.
Ethan Tubaski, yeah.
Yeah. Chinese cooking demystified is also really good at this for the
There's
Chinese.
also that what category would you put the My Name is Andong channel in?
Andong is in that same slant as well. The more educational aspect, showing the culture behind it, and then showing his take on it. Because Andong is situated in Germany,
In Germany.
even though like he has Chinese roots. So he struggles and often succeeds in creating a take that is suitable for local sourcing, but at the same time still is a take on what he remembers from his Chinese ancestry. There's also the historical cooking channel, Tasting History with
Tasting History.
Tasting History by Max Miller. So
Was
like,
it Townsend's and English Heritage?
Townsend's in English Heritage is also another prominent cooking channel, and I think like the one of the points that I want to make here is that these channels only popped up in popularity in the past 5 to 10 years. Back before that, there was a significant lull in food channel or rather food related media. Like, okay, early on we had the Bon Appetit, and then the whole scandal happened and everything blew up.
It's
It's just
interesting,
like,
the entire Bon Appetit saga, it's probably its own segment because they tried to be a lot of things. They were ambitious enough to try and try and hold up their like level of like prestige because they are technically prestige. Like they are representing a food magazine first and foremost.
yes.
They are a print publication at heart because and like the Conde Nast network, not just Bon Appetit, but things like Epicurious as well. Like those, like these are
Yeah. Epicurious is in a funny spot because they're very much so tutorial like that the only thing that's actually carrying them are the people who present them, which is a good move. But
yeah, that
they're
also
not.
seems to be like the perspective of the other channels in the Conde Nast network. Like Wired likes presenting topics from popular personalities or tech people or how
Or experts in general.
or experts in general and like something like that.
And like, okay, it's good, it's okay. Frank Proto is a great chef, at least in presenting his stuff. But the content itself is not as memorable as the personalities they sometimes put in there.
Yeah.
While on the other hand, a lot of the more independent stuff, well, quote unquote independent,
Quote
like
unquote.
BuzzFeed is a strange anomaly in this space, but okay, sure. Because
BuzzFeed is probably going to be most remembered for being the springboard in which talent that used to work for BuzzFeed used the experience they got from working there to launch their own like more successful channels.
Yes. And then like, okay, so
And I feel
as I
like
mentioned,
yeah, the BuzzFeed staff or the BuzzFeed food staff are kind of in like in a position where they could be like anywhere. Like Alvin doesn't just work for BuzzFeed.
yeah,
Alvin is probably like in a position where like they're they're doing like contract work or something like that. Yeah, like yeah, yeah. To be fair, okay, that's a different topic because we are featuring food people right now. Uh, but yes, those three talents that you mentioned, these are all ex BuzzFeed people.
try guys, yes.
Oh yeah, and what's his face? The people who made Watcher,
Oh,
Ryan
right,
and
like
Shane
Ryan,
and
Shane,
Steven.
Steven, yeah. Like the Watcher guys are like mostly detached now from BuzzFeed, as far as I can tell. Like
And even then, the whole
they're
reason Worth It still exists is because Steven and Andrew Ilnicki are still really best friends.
yes. So like that's a good thing about the whole AP about to eat and Watcher. Like they can freely collaborate and they have free independence on know how they want to collaborate their work. Now, okay, so going back to my point, the thing is that I said 20 years ago because that was the heyday of those food channels back then.
Mm.
And then afterwards, when we approached the 2010s, things stagnated. Like, okay, sure, I stopped watching TV as much during that era, but then if you look at the programming of the food channels back then, it wasn't as interesting either.
Yeah, there became
There,
trends, right? The trends, you started seeing new trends pop up in the food television landscape.
yeah, like okay, I guess reality TV dominated back then, ish.
When did
Because
Master Chef?
MasterChef has always been MasterChef.
I
That
guess it does
hasn't changed
it
around.
does
Oh,
occupy a niche all on its own without actually
yeah,
like, but to be fair, wait,
but
to
there
be fair,
was
MasterChef owes it to earlier shows like Iron Chef, for example. But
yes, like
MasterChef
Iron
opens
Chef.
it up to the amateur audience, right?
Yeah,
Because all of its contestants, unlike Iron Chefs, are all amateur cooks.
yes. And then on the other spectrum, there's Hell's Kitchen, which is another kind of worms,
It's a spectacle.
but
We will say it. It's a spectacle.
it's a spectacle. Like the entire reality TV bent started to sort of not really dominate, but per se, it stagnated the industry.
Oh yeah,
It stagnated the scene.
there's also the matter of programs that focused on like, oh yeah, we're going to have like a food truck battle across America, or when Adam Richman started, wait, is that his name?
Yeah, yeah.
Adam Richman started becoming turning Man versus Food into like a competitive show.
Yeah, and at that point, he was started already getting tired of the entire concept. So that's also why he eventually retired from being Man versus Food, and then someone else took over, and eventually the show just died
Also,
altogether.
hello, Reese. I keep forgetting how you pronounce your name. I'm sorry. But also, what else? Baking shows became really popular at the time. Cake Boss had a huge traction. Like
Yeah,
it's not even just that the show became popular. It's the fact that the family itself that Cake Boss follows, right?
it's peak reality
It
TV.
became like reality TV show that's centered around itself, which
Yeah,
is like an unusual thing to be considering about a food reality show.
no, but here's the thing with Cake Boss. Cake Boss, there's nothing really more to add to Cake Boss.
It is its own format. There's very few things that are like it.
No, no, no. I mean, in terms of the actual food, it's a cake.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
a nice cake.
It is.
The decorating techniques probably are the highlight of it if you're a food enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, not so much.
Yeah,
The main highlight is Buddy himself.
yeah, it is. And then shows started propping up, which really zeroed in on the we are going to make detailed AF cakes, and then just completely focused on that kind of concept immediately, and then
Yeah.
those also took off. And then there's also the fact that shows like Great British Bake Off also took off. It also created a completely different atmosphere that I mean I can link that to because I feel like shows like that are an enormous influence on Try Guys, and why Without a Recipe is explicitly trying to emulate that show.
Yeah. And then eventually the whole reality TV event led to what we now know as Bon Appetit.
The Bon Appetit YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the Bon Appetit YouTube channel was very smart about the reality TV event. It's not gonna look like reality TV, but it is.
The funny thing is
But
that people are on the internet, on YouTube, have explained it better than us. But
yes,
we'll try to explain it as much as we can in this kind of space from our own knowledge.
yeah.
That
Oh, you mean about the entire thing, the entire thing that happened
no
regarding Bon Appetit?
the idea that Conde Nast was trying to set up a quote unquote cinematic universe of talents inside of Bon Appetit. So it was so the rollout between like, so this is Brad's show, this is It's Alive,
Yeah.
this is Carla Music's show,
So
this is Claire Safitz's show, this is
yes.
Chris Morocco's show, and then
So
all of those existed in a vacuum first, and then as traction started to happen, they
they
started
started to combine
to combine.
things
Yeah, they
together.
started showing up in each other's show, and then there's a phenomenon that they like to call it that watching Bon Appetit videos feels like you're looking into an almost clinically um, presented sitcom of office
Yes,
interactions between the
it's The
employees of the
Office.
test kitchen and the staff. Which now that we know that what happened of how Bon Appetit treated its staff, it's like ugh. But
Like it's The Office,
but for
but in a kitchen
but in a
setting.
kitchen setting in Manhattan in One World Trade
And
Center.
to be fair to Bon Appetit as a cooking channel, it is
It was
a cooking
very good at
channel.
what it did.
Yes, like it had really good presentation, and the food was pretty nice, unless it was made by what's his face,
Uh,
the guy that got up into the all the drama about it.
what guy?
The editor in chief.
The editor in chief. See, what's his face? I keep forgetting
He
his.
was also an
As,
Adam, I think.
Adam Rappaport. Yeah.
Yeah, like Rappaport. Yeah, like unless it was made by Rappaport, Rappaport's dishes generally were subpar. Everyone else's though was quite good at what they were doing, except Rappaport. But
The
yeah,
funny thing is that I never really got that vibe from him. I got the vibe that he was just like the boss that suddenly randomly appears in the show, in the other people's shows.
Rappaport has done like 2 or 3 videos in the Bon Appetit universe, and generally they were not that well received,
And there's also the
especially
fact that, yeah,
early
okay.
ones.
There's also, okay, so here's an interesting quirk about Chris Morocco's reverse engineering show. It proves a lot of skills that Chris has, but at the same time, it exposes a lot of his culinary biases to the audience.
Yes, and that's a, that's a thing that you will, if you put anyone else in Chris Morocco's shoes regarding like, okay, let's say you have a fairly experienced cook, blindfold them, it it will expose their biases as well.
Yeah.
It's not just a Chris thing. It's a thing that happens when you're very much trained in a particular set of skills as a cook.
and why also the later episodes of Gourmet Makes with Claire Saffitz were also like, yeah, let's put Claire through a series of situations where her classical training in ex-culinary's expertise is not going to work.
Yes, because it makes for good TV. Although poor Claire, at Claire's expense.
At Claire's expense, honestly.
Yeah, but yeah, like generally, Bon Appetit had good direction.
They tried.
Just that
Problem was
they tr-
they did impose a lot of like essentially classist sentiments about food, especially in
yes,
especially in their online and printed works.
yeah, and you could blame Adam Rappaport for that
Uh,
because he is editor in chief. So yeah, like a lot of it stems from Adam, but it's more systematic of
it's
Conde Nast
systematic, yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
And then like
it
okay,
also
so
seemed like Carla was in on it at some point as well.
yeah, but we don't really know the facts
The
regarding that
details,
one
yeah.
apart from Adam himself. Now, that's also why Condé Nast's approach now with regards to Epicurious is a direct response to whatever happened to them at Bon Appetit. Since
Yeah,
Bon Appetit
it's like
never
the
fully,
opposite, right? They're doing like the opposite now. They're really
yeah,
focusing on the informational aspect of it now.
yeah, and like that vacuum made by Bon Appetit led to the what I say is
The re-renaissance of
the renaissance, the new renaissance of food cooking food channels, and it is something that I'm very much open to exploring more, especially best ever food review show. I like every time there's a new best ever food review show video up, like right now there is one.
there is one. Okay.
I will watch it because it's that good. Like here's the thing with
B. Dylan Hollis. I actually don't even know who this person is. Sorry, Goro.
I don't know.
I've seen
But
the
yeah,
name
like
float around, but I actually don't know what their content is.
yeah, I have not encountered them at all. But if you want, just DM me on Discord or some. Just show it to me on Discord.
Thanks for the follow, Frogo4488. The sound effect just played the ah. Okay, go on.
Yeah, like okay. So the thing is with best ever food review show is that it's very much there's a huge TikTok. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Goro. I do not use TikTok.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on. Wait. Let me look this person. Wait. If this person is what I think this person is, hold on.
Like, okay, I do not use TikTok. I do not use Instagram. You cannot make me use Instagram.
Oh, it's this guy. Okay. Never mind. Their videos are also up on YouTube Shorts. So that's how I
Oh,
actually.
shorts. No. I tend to avoid shorts from people who I don't watch. So,
I mean, I really only watch shorts from Hank Green for the most part, and other like similarly people who already have a reputation for being very informational on their main channels. So
yeah. But, okay, so back to Best Ever Food Review Show. The thing with Best Ever Food Review Show is that, okay, Sunny is very much the personality. I do not check Facebook either. I have a Facebook, yes. I don't check it anymore. I do not like seeing stuff on Facebook. Or Twitter for that matter, to be honest. Like, if you need to find me, I am on Discord and nowhere else. You can DM me on Twitter. I will see it. You can ping me on Twitter, whatever. But that's about it. I am very much a recluse now in social media. I do not look at stuff. But anyway, going back to Best Ever Food Review Show. So Sunny is pretty much the personality front and center. But the thing is, like, he uses it to present the food, and he's not gonna shy away from saying, "I'm not into this."
Mhm.
He's not overly positive about the food that he eats. He will say it if he doesn't like it, and he's very vocal about not liking cucumbers, but oddly eats pickles. So
Vinegar can do a lot of things to food.
yeah, so his thing, I guess, but yeah, he's very vocal about his food choices, but he is not close-minded about not trying out food. Like he'd eat testicles, he'd eat penis, he'd eat whatever part of the food. He'd even eat blood, even though I do not consume blood. So
Mhm.
it's like it's an interesting thing to see that he places the food front and center, and then along with it, explain let he lets the whoever he's talking to explain the culture behind the food, why they eat what they eat, what is the history of what they eat, and I think that's something that was lost for a long time because Anthony Bourdain did it as well to a certain extent. I wouldn't say Bourdain did it to the extent that Sonny is doing it now because Bourdain presented the food in a very in the context of what it of it being eaten in the place that it's being eaten at, and he has an appreciation for it. He lets the voices that need to be heard flow through his medium,
Yeah.
but Bourdain sadly did not live long enough to advance the craft further. Andrew Zimmern pretty much would taste anything and he would not be judgmental about it. I think that's one thing that Sonny inherited from Zimmern.
From
But the
Zimmern.
thing with Zimmern was that, okay, he would eat it, he'd be not judgmental about it, he probably would drop a tidbit or two, but the focus was that it was bizarre from the perspective of the American palate.
Mhm.
So it's like there's still the element of it being exoticized
And on the
because
surface level, I think Best Ever Food Review Show does things like that with the very loud presentation of the channel itself. Like their video titles are basically all in all caps.
yeah, but I think I'd attribute that more to modern
Algorithmic
YouTube
choices rather than anything.
as
Yeah.
algorithmic choices. Yeah, like if they could have it their way, there probably won't be as sensationalized about it. But that's what gets you
Yeah,
clicks.
and Anthony Bourdain was likewise limited by the constraints of network television, even though
Yes,
because he was still at the end of the day a CNN employee.
yeah, but that's I think why I think best ever food review show is a step up compared to pretty much everything in the current market, even before the current marketplace of food videos. Because in the end, it's what's important about looking out for new food is that you don't treat it as wow, this is a never before seen innovation in the culinary world or something like that. You could say that for molecular gastronomy, sure. Like the stuff Heston Blumenthal does is frankly insane.
Hmm.
But uh, stuff like people eating blood, people eating whale blubber, people eating whatever animal is there, that is
It
only
seems like a
unusual
lot of the
to our lens.
commonality to all of those is the fact that these are all foods consumed by indigenous people, and that
Not
kind
only
of
indigenous people, it's just regional. It's specific to a country, probably a
okay.
certain number of
So it's
people.
very
It's not.
local. It's just very
It's
local.
very. It's very local, and it looks weird from the outside lens. And Sonny does his best to say that yes, it looks weird from the outside lens.
But
He
this is
himself
but this, yeah.
but he himself being a foreigner to
Hmm.
pretty much every culture that he visits is is something that he acknowledges as this is not something that I would probably get used to.
Hmm.
He's very open about that, but he will try it anyway because, well, he wants to understand why do they eat this thing?
Yeah.
What led to them eating this thing? How does it sustain this community? what part does this food play in the community at large? And I think that's an important way to actually contextualize food, especially now in the age of fusion cuisine. Like a lot of fusion cuisine these days just takes surface level aspects of one food and then combines it on the surface level aspects of another food, and bam, you get something that probably doesn't taste as delicious as you think. But
Hmm.
if you know the context of what you're fusing, for example, then you would probably have a bit more respect for what you're making, in a sense. Like all of these high end places try to elevate food in ways that probably aren't appropriate to the food that you're trying to elevate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, you do need some innovation, you do need some aspects to it, but the approach, in my opinion, is not by inventing new techniques, but looking at the fundamentals and then saying, what else can I do with this?
What else can I do with this?
Yeah,
This.
like I'm
Mhm.
jokingly purist about a lot of techniques, but really I'm purist for a reason with regards to those techniques. It's because I don't understand the fundamentals of some of these yet. I cannot tweak something if I don't know what I'm tweaking.
Mm.
That's just balut. I don't
It's
eat
called
balut
balut, yeah.
either.
So,
I
what
don't
food
eat
would you
balut either, so don't
refuse to
worry.
eat? Well, here's the thing. I think both of us don't refuse food on principle. We do have dislikes, right?
Wait, for me, I do refuse food on principle.
Oh yeah, blood, yeah, because for
Blood
reasons,
and yeah, blood and balut for religious
for
reasons.
religious reasons.
But in general, apart from those two and probably a few others that are in a sort of uh, moral gray area for me at least,
Hmm.
well, religious morally gray area, I would eat anything, including offal. And vinegar is especially something that I like. I would
Same.
drink the stuff.
Yeah, I've actually I've done that before actually. Not straight vinegar. Vinegar specifically made for drinking that is diluted with water.
Yeah. Like, okay, in terms of personal preference though, like blood and balut aside, I what don't I like eating, to be honest? I think it's less of what I don't like eating and more of what preparations I don't like on certain things.
Hmm.
For example, tendon on its own is disgusting.
But you
But
prepare it a certain way.
if you prepare it a certain way, I will gobble it up.
Oh,
Pares, for example, if
Paris.
yeah, like
Soft tendon. Yeah.
soft braised tendon
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Maybe that's why we also really like Paris.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
So
our foreign viewers, Paris is beef stew essentially. It's a Filipino beef stew.
yes,
It's been like
made
braised for a
by
really long time. Yeah.
yeah, like you essentially take an entire cow. Well, not really, but in principle, it's an entire cow. You boil it and you eat it.
Yeah.
It's better than you. It's better than I make it out to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. To answer Frogo's question, I think balut is also for me not a food that I would like to eat, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
I just do
Some people
not
just don't like
consume.
it.
I just don't consume boiled eggs in general.
Oh,
I find that I am very sensitive to the sulfurous smell of boiled eggs, and
that's hard boiled eggs, though.
yeah,
Like
hard boiled
really
eggs.
hard boiled.
Balut has a smell that my body rejects. It's also a
That's
textural
fair.
difference.
The textural difference is usually what gets to people in balut. So
Yeah,
understandable.
yeah. What balut does to egg yolk is something that I just don't like. I for some reason.
Makes it
The bird
rubbery.
aside, yeah.
But yeah, like okay. But what I don't like to eat, hard. It's
Or
hard to say.
I have
Like
examples. Yeah, I have.
okay, go.
I am very sensitive to the taste of fish fats. Um, for some reason, I cannot consume certain types of fatty fish, or at least like straight up the like the region that is like either closest to the belly or to the skin, without my gag reflex naturally then triggering, and I don't know why. I can't figure out why for the
Skill
life of.
issue.
Yeah, it's a skill issue. I have,
Skill issue.
and offal is also a sore point for me because I have. It's less the fact that I don't like it. It's more if I don't have experience eating it. So that's
Awful
something
takes getting used to.
I I am interested in getting used to it. I have acquired tripe. I used to hate tripe. I don't anymore.
Tripe is fun. It's hard to cook, but it's fun.
But it's fun. It's oddly the reason why I like tripe so much is the texture actually. What
It's fun. It's chewy sometimes, but then sometimes it's just right.
yeah.
You have to cook it properly. You
Yeah,
have to
because
be really
otherwise it
good
will
at
be like
cooking.
there will be like a really really unpleasant aftertaste if you don't
Yeah.
prepare it right. For pork, I find that whenever I have smelly pork on hand, mirin is my best friend.
For pork, for me,
Like I marinate pork in mirin or any
the
other
thing is,
alcoholics liquid.
I like pork. Period. I like pork, but I prepare it in. I have certain ways to prepare pork to make it even tastier.
Yeah, yeah, that's also a skill issue for me. I need to learn how to better prepare pork as well.
It depends on the cut of pork. Like, okay, I don't want to get too much into the weeds of meat cuts versus fish cuts versus. Since this is me nerding out on culinary technique
Okay,
more than anything, but there are ways to make stuff just pure pork palatable.
okay.
Okay, fine. If we were to be very like simple about it, one thing that I just would do in general with pork is to dry brine it.
Okay. That's something I've not tried before. I could probably go ahead and do that. Yeah,
The problem though with dry brining is that I do not dry brine here at home often
it's the humidity.
because no, our fridge does not have any space for me to dry brine anything.
Hmm.
If I'm in the condo, yes. If I'm living alone, I can. I I've tried aging beef in the condo.
Yeah,
I
but
can't
on purpose. Yeah.
on purpose. I can't do it, but because like it's just a sirloin. It's a really small sirloin. By the time that I actually successfully dry age the thing, I'd have nothing to eat.
Because it would be it's the cut is so small.
Yeah, the cut would be way too small. So instead, uh, I just dry brine the thing.
I mean,
Dry brining does wonders.
it would probably be very effective. Yeah.
Yeah, dry brining does wonders for both pork and chicken. But it depends on the pork, and it depends on the preparation of pork that you're going to do. Okay, fine. I'm gonna nerd out for a bit. So, if you're doing whole pork roasts, you need to go for pork shoulder, pork butt, ham maybe. I guess, ham is hard to handle. That's the problem. But if you're doing pork shoulder, pork butt, generally speaking, you could just dry brine it, and then the next day you shove it in the oven, and it will turn out beautiful, juicy, nice. If you're doing pork chops, same principle: dry brine it the night before, cook it the day after. Pork steaks as well. Now, with regards to other cuts, like let's say pork belly, yes, you can do the dry brining method, but the thing is, salt doesn't penetrate fat that much, rather that effectively. So what I do is there was this one time where I actually made chashu out of a belly. It was one of the richest things that I made. I will not do it again. Very intensive, and I had to chuck that whole pork belly in a slow cooker for 6 hours. I did not sleep because I did that at midnight, and at the back of my head it was like, okay, this thing is gonna flare up and I'm going to die. Luckily, I didn't, although I didn't sleep anyway. And then like the next day, rather like by 6 a.m., I took it out, chopped it up, chucked most of it in the freezer. That way it would keep for longer. And then I went to school to teach
Hmm.
the hour later.
The hour later.
I spent an entire night just cooking, and I had to teach my usual physics classes the the hour after cooking. So fun.
I could probably, because I watched a Chinese cooking demystified video recently that
Which one?
that it wasn't the main title of the video, but I think it was some sort of, I think it was about rice noodles, but somewhere in the middle of that video is a random section on how to make quote unquote quick chashu, and like that cheaty like shortcut method is probably something I could try.
Chinese cooking demystified. There's a lot of really nice shortcuts. You should do them.
Yeah.
I've done some of them and they work, and they work really well. Although one of the advantages I have here at home is that not only do I have a wok, but the the stove that I use for the wok is like half the power of the jet burner stoves you see in Chinese restaurants.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like getting the Chinese cookery wok flame level is
The wok
something that
flame,
is normally a residential fire hazard.
yes, but somehow like our stove here at home has half of that, and that is more than enough for me to stir fry stuff. I get that wok hay. It is nice, very nice.
Yes, me that I am limited to cooking things on a hot plate. That's a big problem already as it is.
Yeah. Big pot over a campfire, making a big stew. That's honestly something that I would love to do, but the thing is, there is literally no time for me to go camping. Nor do I have the effort to go camping. I have the effort to go hiking.
Yeah, you live in Laguna. You basically have like mountain within 2 hours of you.
Makiling is peanuts compared to proper mountains.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. Well, you I should probably be asking you then because I have no idea if there are like legitimate camping grounds here down south.
I don't know. Honestly, like, okay, Makiling does have legitimate camping grounds, but hunting game, you can't do that here.
Oh
At
yeah, for
least
sure.
not,
No, you can't. Yeah.
at least not in, not down here in the south. The north, maybe.
So we're guessing that the closest thing we can do is go to Pulag, take a bunch of ingredients with us, and Eurocamp it.
Yeah, Pulag would be good for camping, to be honest, because it's nice and high up and cold.
And cold,
I
yeah,
like it.
actually.
I like it cold. I like it cold up in camping.
I mean,
But in terms
the
of,
last time I went there, the summit was at like 6 degrees when we went up there.
yeah, like, okay, foraging maybe. But the thing is, like, like mushrooms.
Hmm.
But somehow we don't
Actually,
have.
yeah.
I don't think we have a proper database of local mushrooms,
Yeah, actually don't know
local wild
any
mushrooms.
areas around me that where wild mushrooms even grow. I feel like a lot of the big like forageable mushrooms require large hardwoods, and those grow on like in very temperate conditions in general. and that's not
Yeah,
very
like here,
suited to like a tropical climate like we do have here.
like you know how bored I am of just the usual variety of mushrooms that I can get from the supermarket. It's just king oysters, buttons, portobellos. Okay,
Hmm.
fine. Shiitake, good.
Hmm.
Uh, enoki, okay, very nice.
And then
And
that's
that's
about
about
it.
it.
That's about it. Yeah, that's basically what we have
Wood
access to at this
ear,
point.
wood ear.
Wood
Okay,
ear,
fine.
wood
Wood
ear, the
ear is
dried mush.
probably
They always come dried, and you have to soak them in water first. But
yeah. But like varietals of mushrooms are. I want to eat a maitake.
or chanterelles,
Or chanterelles are another universe to me. They're very fancy. I don't think I've ever tried a chanterelle before,
or morels. What
but
what else?
or
What are like
morels especially. Like the thing is, I've tried truffles, but not morels. It's like I think I skipped a step somewhere.
yeah, you think you skipped a step for sure.
And like truffles are nice, yes, sure, but I want to try the other fungi.
If I were living alone, I would probably make use of dried shiitake way more in my cooking.
I have a ton of dried shiitake here. I use it for stock,
Mm.
and then I cook the shiitake in itself.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very versatile.
because from what I've seen online, it's like wow, this is such a nice ingredient to work with and have like a lot of times, and it's like
Yeah,
good for you.
well, not too much.
Not
Like,
too much.
since mushrooms can increase your uric acid content in the
Oh,
body,
okay,
but that's another can of worms.
okay.
Probably creatinine as well.
Well, it would be nice to like to replace a meat portion 1 day a week or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of
Although,
thing.
well,
Now, imagine being stable enough to meal prep.
same. Uh, I mean, I'll probably get to that point of
We will, hopefully.
nah. No, wait. Well, not the meal prepping, the stability. But honestly, I like eating out as well.
Yeah,
Personally,
yeah. That's also like a far future thing that we like. I like to do with Seele is to
which
just
one?
like the idea. I think I've talked to you about this actually. Like eventually, I'd like to like do a thing where we visit places and then we eat out and then we just do our like canso over it.
Entire Philippines.
Yeah, just Philippines, very local. Like you wanted to go specifically really really local spots.
Of course,
Like
has to be because well, that's
I
what we
mean,
wanted from
what
life.
else would it be? I mean, it plays into both our interests.
Yeah. Although, like personally, like if we're talking about food that I'm looking out for now,
Hmm.
I'm waiting for that Ikinari steak in Moa to open.
Isn't it already open? ZB goes there.
Really? Let me check.
Like ZB posted
Ikinari
photos
steak.
on his Twitter about the Ikinari steak. That's
When did he post it?
around around Cosmatsuri or something.
It is?
We
Alright, it
we,
is
we, we
open.
went to
December.
IKEA. We went to IKEA, right? It's in the same building as it. It by the time that we passed by it was already open.
Oh no. Oh no. Next time I'm going to Moa, I'm eating there. Money!
Ikinari's.
Do they have a menu here? There's signature wild steak.
I know
There's
that
certified
you
unaged.
specifically have a very like uh interest in steak.
$5.99 for 200 grams.
Can I
300
join?
grams is 8.59.
Yeah, ask Seele.
You want to come with Ikinari steak?
I mean, you two can talk it out. I'm like, really far
Sure.
away.
I mean, sure.
I don't know
Like,
when the next time
but,
I'll be in Manila. That's why.
but the prices for Ikinari steak are like, okay, this is premium. This is MOA premium.
It's more premium. It's like 700 above.
Hmm?
Is it like
Five 5.99 for 200 grams.
Okay,
600 for 200 grams.
that's about Nagi tier actually.
That's above Nagi tier.
I thought Nagi was 600 tier, so 699 I guess. So it is above tier.
No. Yeah, because Nagi tier is 400.
Oh, really? I thought
Yeah.
I had it in my mental space that you need to at least set aside 600 a person for Nagi, but
Nah, you could be satisfied with Nagi for just 400 pesos, but you might want more. So
I mean you might want more. That's why I considered the 600
that's the
price.
caveat. No. If you want more, 500 is gonna be your minimum for Nagi. But even then, like if one ramen bowl should be enough to fill a person up if you're not like me.
Oh,
And then okay,
I actually have trouble finishing the entire portion. I can though. I'm not sure if like 2019 me can finish an entire bowl of nagi. Not sure about now though.
like okay, 2020 like 2019 me will finish an entire bowl of nagi with additional 2 servings of noodles
Uh
and be fine.
oh yeah.
Nowadays, thanks to hashtag age,
Yeah.
I will eat one entire bowl of nagi and one additional serving of noodles and feel like dying afterwards. I will still do it, but I do not feel happy about it. Well, no. I feel satisfied about it, but that doesn't mean I feel happy about it.
Okay. I see.
I'm looking at Ikinari steaks menu and it's like, okay, their assorted cut, which is 200 grams of their premium cuts and their wild steak for 920 pesos. That's like 20 bucks. If you convert this to yen, that's around 2,000 yen. And 2,000 yen in my head registers, that's cheap.
But
No, it isn't.
in yen, if you had yen and if you were earning money in yen,
That's a cheap treat. Emphasis on treat. I will not eat this regularly. But like if you convert it now to pesos, like 920 pesos, it's like that's money.
yeah, it's money. It's money we probably don't have right now.
That's like one sal note zero.
Once, one thing that I've noticed you started doing is you started comparing prices to how many of X audio thing is it?
We'll seek into that in a moment. But let me first finish looking at looking at the Ikinari steaks menu.
Yeah, well, let's finish the foods.
The food segment. Angus beef rib eye for 2 pesos. 200 grams beef strip loin.
This is so in character for us. Like when we were doing this in person, we were basically looking at web pages every so often. Like this is what we do.
Then Angus beef tenderloin is around 113. Okay, so the prices are something that I normally expect.
Honestly, for yeah, this is
From
definitely
Ikinari steak.
yeah. I this is kind of what I expected. Yeah.
Okay, this is I think acceptable for me for the like if I'm taking someone out on a date. Except well, it's Ikinari steak. Ikinari steak is supposed to be standing steak. You just eat and then you get out of the store.
That's why it's called Ikinari steak.
Yeah, that's why it's called Ikinari steak. But then, like, if given these prices, this is not that.
These prices and what we did with Ikinari steak was convert that into a sit down experience.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sit down experience definitely. So I guess I'd be taking her out on a date like this, but I don't know. Anyway, these are just my thoughts. I want to try out Ikinari steak. Maybe the next time I go to Mo, whatever. I will not be treating people to Ikinari steak though.
Yeah, no, that's still out of the question probably.
Yeah, not at my current finances. But anyway, Ikinari steak.
It's now open as of this writing.
It is now open. We are not sponsored. Please sponsor me personally, like just a lifetime supply of Ikinari steak. Like, not for the channel, not for anything.
Yeah,
Just sponsor me.
yeah. This statement is not related to the channel. It's related to specifically Seele and just Seele.
I will market your Ikinari steak really well, but it's not going to be related to the channel at all. I just want to eat steak. Steak good.
Why does this write up about Ikinari steak have a random photo of someone in a Klee cosplay? Klee from Genshin Impact.
Probably because it was taken during Cosmatsu.
When did we? When is this? When did we get this? January 6th. Oh well, it could have been. Yeah, it's the week after Cosmatsuri. So
There
probably.
was a con after that. So
Wait, what do you
yes.
mean it's sponsoring a Yakuza game? What game did this appear?
Ikinari steak?
Okay. So Ikinari Steak is a product placement in specific Yakuza games. It's in the remake of 2. It's in Judgment. It's in Like a Dragon, the 7th game. So, oh wow.
Well,
Whenever I get around to Yakuza Kiwami 2, there's definitely going to be a joke about the Ikinari Steak in MOA or in BGC whenever I run into that exact location.
but yeah, like, before we end the food segment, I would like to talk about steak for a bit. Because
That
I do
is
have
a
steak.
topic. That is a topic that you have a lot of things to say about.
Not really a lot, but like, I like steak. I like a lot of steak. I've had Angus, I've had Wagyu, I've had aged Angus, and I've had local. Thing is, steak is expensive. Here's the thing. Whenever I'm at UP Town Center, which is a mall in the Philippines, right in front of my institute in physics, right in front of the Physics Institute,
Yeah.
I go to the Meat Depot. It is a very specific place.
Oh, is it still there?
Yes, it's still surviving for some reason.
Wow.
Probably because I go there to eat steak. There was this one time I went to Meat Depot. I felt fancy. I had a lot of money. By a lot of money, it just means I felt like I had a lot of money, but in reality, I was getting into a lot of debt with myself. I went into Meat Depot. I saw this aged Angus strip loin. It had no price in it. I knew it was going to be expensive, but I put it in, walked to the cashier, like, rare. Okay, they go. They no. At that time, I wasn't doing rare. I was doing medium rare. Medium rare. Okay, I give it to them. They cook it to me to my preference, medium rare. Or rather, they cooked it. I wait. Okay, it's now there. What a fantastic steak! It was probably around 450 grams.
Oh, that's a lot actually. That's like double the
That's
usual.
yeah, that was like a lot of steak. It was 450 grams of very goodness. But when I cut it open, I looked at it and was like, this is rare. So I took it. I told them to take it back. They cooked it. They refired it. Very good, very nice. And then finally medium rare. I ate the thing, and I was satisfied. It's not a bit bloated because, well, it's a fatty steak.
It's still a pound of steak.
It's a pound of steak. It was a nice beefy steak. And then when I asked for the bill, it came to me 2,500. 2,500 pesos on a single steak.
Which is,
I,
I mean, I can
I was-
see you spending that much for it. Not gonna lie.
I was looking at it and was like, okay. And then that's when I realized the mistake of steak. Steak is expensive. Plan your steak adventures wisely. Because otherwise you'll end up like me. Realizing too late that I spent a lot on a steak. It was dry aged Angus, by the way. So it was probably one of the best things that I put in my mouth, but at the same time, I will do that when I have stable income. Again. Steak. So good. Not to disparage people who only live on a vegetarian or vegan diet, however, because falafel,
Falafel.
very good. I eat a lot of Indian food,
Or
not
well,
Indians food.
I personally find wheat gluten to be a pretty miraculous substance. But I know that I mean people who have celiac and other gluten intolerances can't have it. That's a different problem on their end. But for people
Yeah,
who can eat gluten like me, I think it's a pretty interesting substance to cook with.
seitan in
Yeah,
particular.
seitan. Yeah, seitan.
Yeah, Satan's okay, but I'm more of a like okay, seitan based meat substitute dishes are fine,
Mm.
but I like Indian food because it presents itself as vegetarian
As it is, yeah.
and as it is delicious. It is spicy. Whenever like I think it's almost a tradition for me at this point. Whenever I'm in Makati and whenever I'm sleeping in Makati, I always order from New Bombay. Either I eat in the store or I take it for delivery, or I call it for delivery. Call it in for delivery. I will always eat at New Bombay every single time. I like Indian food.
I
I
miss
also
Indian
like
food. I just don't have any place nearby that I can get it from though.
Shopee. You have no choice.
Eh.
Like okay, go to Shopee or Lazada or whatever. Type in palak paneer.
Yeah, I've actually done that before. It's more of like
Do not get do not get the Gits brand
yeah,
of
yeah,
palak
yeah, yeah.
paneer. I've tried it. I don't like it.
I forget.
Get the
I forget what the name of that good brand is.
Haldiram.
Haldiram.
Yes, Haldiram. They're good.
Uh,
But yeah, like I like all kinds of food. I like all kinds of food. I do not discriminate in regards to food unless it's the things that I really cannot eat
yeah.
due to religious restrictions. But otherwise, if it's good food, to eat.
There is that. Yes.
That is that's I think one of the key takeaways that we can get here is that okay, food is presented in a lot of media. Food is presented in a lot of ways. But in the end, does it taste good? Yes. Do you like it? Yes. Then eat it. Just eat it. What's that song?
Yeah. Yeah. You're probably doing the Weird Al version of it,
Yeah, yeah. The Weird Al version of
of the
the
Michael
beat.
Jackson
Yeah.
thing.